Have you ever pondered the nature of existence, questioned the fabric of reality, or sought the essence of truth? Welcome to a journey through the profound realms of philosophy, where every question leads to deeper understanding. In this vast intellectual landscape, we will travel through the contours of thought that have shaped humanity for millennia. Let us begin with the ancient impulse, the urge to know. Philosophy, from the Greek philosophia, meaning love of wisdom, is not merely a discipline, it is a way of life. Socrates, the father of Western philosophy, wandered the streets of Athens, not as a teacher, but as a seeker. He posed questions that had no easy answers, challenging assumptions and peeling back the layers of belief until only the raw core of truth remained. His method, dialectic, lives on, not just in textbooks, but in our conversations, our debates, our reflections. The Socratic paradox, I know that I know nothing, is not an admission of ignorance, but a recognition of the infinite. Every answer leads to more questions. This is the heart of philosophical inquiry, a relentless, courageous confrontation with the unknown. Socrates believed that the unexamined life is not worth living. But what does it mean to examine one's life? It means to reflect, to question our desires, our fears, our choices. From Socrates, we leap into the metaphysical inquiries of Plato. In his theory of forms, Plato suggests that the world we perceive is only a shadow of a deeper, more real reality. The objects we see are imperfect reflections of ideal forms, truth, beauty, justice, that exist in a higher plane. To Plato, knowledge is recollection. Our souls, eternal and immaterial, have glimpsed the forms before birth, and now seek to remember them. Plato's student, Aristotle, diverged from his teacher in significant ways. Where Plato looked upward to a transcendent realm, Aristotle looked around. He believed that reality is immanent, that it exists here, in the particulars. His method was empirical. He catalogued, analyzed, and systematized logic, ethics, politics, biology. Aristotle's fingerprints are everywhere. For him, the good life is one lived in accordance with virtue, through reason, within the polis. As we move through time, we encounter the Stoics, who taught that the path to happiness lies not in changing the world, but in changing our response to it. Epictetus, a former slave, taught that we must distinguish between what is in our control and what is not. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor, practiced these teachings daily. His meditations reveal a mind striving to remain anchored amidst chaos. Stoicism is not resignation. It is resilience. It teaches us to align with nature, to accept fate, to master desire. The rise of Christianity brought a new synthesis of Greek philosophy and spiritual doctrine. Augustine, once a hedonist, became a bishop and a thinker of immense influence. He wrestled with the problem of evil, the nature of time, and the structure of the soul. For Augustine, truth resided in God, and faith was a path to understanding. Medieval philosophy was dominated by the attempt to reconcile reason and faith. Thomas Aquinas, drawing on Aristotle, sought to show that the truths of revelation and the truths of reason were not contradictory, but complementary. His Summa Theologica is a monumental effort to map the divine and the rational into a coherent whole. The modern age shattered the medieval synthesis. Descartes, seeking certainty, began by doubting everything. His famous conclusion, cogito, ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, became the foundation of modern philosophy. From this point, thinkers explored the limits and powers of reason, the structure of knowledge, and the nature of the self. Locke and Hume, the British empiricists, argued that knowledge comes from experience. The mind, for Locke, was a blank slate, tabula rasa, upon which experience writes. Hume, more skeptical, challenged the very notion of causality and questioned whether we can truly know anything beyond impressions. Across the Channel, Kant tried to bridge the gap between rationalism and empiricism. He argued that while all knowledge begins with experience, not all of it arises from experience. The mind actively shapes what it perceives. Space and time, cause and effect, these are not properties of the world but of our mental framework. Kant's Critique of Pure Reason remains one of the most challenging and rewarding texts in philosophy. Then came the existentialists who turned philosophy inward: Kierkegaard, Nietzsche, Sartre, and Camus. These thinkers explored angst, freedom, authenticity, and absurdity. They asked, what does it mean to exist in a godless, indifferent universe? Kierkegaard turned to faith. Nietzsche declared the death of God. Sartre embraced radical freedom, and Camus urged us to imagine Sisyphus happy. These were not armchair philosophers. They lived and suffered their philosophies. In the East, meanwhile, rich philosophical traditions flourished. In India, the Upanishads contemplated the unity of Atman and Brahman, the self and the absolute. Buddhism, in its many forms, taught the impermanence of all things and the path to liberation through mindfulness, compassion, and insight. In China, Confucius emphasized ethics, filial piety, and social harmony, while Laozi and Zhuangzi spoke of the Tao, the way of nature, effortless and profound. Philosophy today is a sprawling field. Analytic philosophers probe the logic of language and the structure of argument. Continental thinkers unravel culture, power, and identity. Feminist, post-colonial, and critical, race theorists expand the boundaries of inquiry, challenging old assumptions and amplifying new voices. Philosophy is no longer a solitary pursuit, it is a global dialogue. But the essence remains: to question, to seek, to wonder. In an age of noise, philosophy invites us to listen. In an era of speed, it asks us to slow down. It teaches us to think clearly, to live deliberately, to embrace uncertainty with courage. As we conclude this philosophical exploration, remember that the pursuit of wisdom is an endless journey. Let the questions we've explored ignite your curiosity and guide your quest for understanding. The world may not offer easy answers, but within the discipline of philosophy, we find the tools to ask better questions.